So the first quarterfinal was Navi versus Astralis, a game fit for a final, and it really delivered as a series.
Yeah, I mean, this is the tournament favorites against the team Navi, who looked the best during the group stage. They were dominant. They really didn't get challenged. They only got 12 rounds taken against them through all the group stage. And here, I mean, this is a match that really showed how tactical Astralis can be. The adjustments they made to be able to come back and get a lead in this match and then just kind of run away with it at the end. You really saw that deficiency in Navi as well in the second half. Yeah,
Navi, probably the most skilled team in Counter-Strike, but at the moment, I think Astralis is the best team in Counter-Strike, and you really saw that cohesion, the fantastic terrorist side play across all three maps. Astralis is the only team that really could have won all three of these. They had that close heartbreak loss in the second map, but came back in the third one. They really ground it out. They had the star performance from Device, the best player in the server, and in the end, they rightfully go on to the semifinals.
Well, sure. Once Astralis really got this defense rolling, and Navi didn't have an answer, they didn't have anything to fall back on. They didn't have any adjustments to make. They didn't have an idea of exactly what to fix to counter what Astralis was doing, and it really showed at the end of the game.
So, are we sticking with the prescribed wisdom then, guys, that Astralis are now hot favorites to win the whole event?
Certainly looking like
it. Was never in any doubt, Richard.
I thought you might say that.
Astralis has moved on to the semi-finals.
So the next quarterfinal, bit of a strange one, because when I say Fnatic versus Gambit, you would think there would be a clear favorite, but actually this time around, a lot of people were saying Gambit had the upset potential here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a grudge match from the previous major when actually Fnatic wiped the floor with Gambit and actually even gave the interview where they said it didn't even feel like it was a quarterfinal matchup, didn't even feel like they were in the playoffs of a major. So that little bit of an insult coming back here, Gambit trying to get revenge. And in a map like Dust 2, I mean, Gambit has looked great, and the reason why people are saying that they had upset potential is because tactically they have looked very, very solid with the kind of structure that they have, how they try and play as a team. But on a map like Dust 2, where individual skill has so much to do with it, this is where the strength of Fnatic really showed.
Yeah, so Duncan, are we underestimating Fnatic in this major?
I think so, but understandably so. I mean, Olfmeister himself even said he understood why Phil didn't think they'd be any good. They hadn't been good for the last few months, and we'd never seen them play a LAN with this lineup. Actually, even when they were at ELEAGUE, they had to use their coaches to stand in instead of Dennis, arguably the best player in the team. So it's the first time we've seen this actual five-man, this quintet in the server, and they are clicking.
Can they get it together, Jason, for the upcoming semi-final?
It's going to be so incredibly difficult for him, but I mean, the thing we have to take away and remember from Counter-Strike history, Crims, Olaf, and Dennis, these three players have performed so much magic on this kind of a stage.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most decorated teams of all time, with some of the most decorated players in this new look lineup. Let's see how much further they can go here in Atlanta.
Fnatic moved on to the semi-finals. The third quarterfinal was just an immense encounter between two teams that really showed everything they were capable of here. This series just had a bit of everything.
Yeah, and you're going to start out talking about EDGEsport. In the first half, 29 kills total. He was incredible. This is probably one of the best individual performances we've seen, you know, in a match, much less a half, that he had. He was dominant. He controlled half the map all by himself. It looked at times like he was just having fun playing around. It looked like he didn't even realize he was playing on a stage in front of the crowd. He was just incredible playing by instinct, and Virtus.Pro had no answer.
Yeah, and I made this point on the broadcast, Duncan. Virtus.Pro, not really a lot of people talking them up at this major, which I think you do at your peril. You cannot underestimate this team.
No, because the thing about them is they're so tough to put away. I mean, North thought they'd done it. You know, they won a map. Virtus.Pro's pick in emphatic fashion. They were up with this incredible half. They switch over to the side where normally North does work, can maybe even win the half. But Virtus.Pro, they never give up. And then even more importantly, when they get you in a position where one team's gonna crack, it's not gonna be them, is it?
We've seen it from throughout the tournament. In the group stage, they had two matches where it looked like they were going to drop them, where it looked like they were outplayed, and they just find ways to get back in this game and grind it out. They're so difficult to beat, and this is another one of those games that just shows it. I mean, North gave themselves opportunities in the second half that looked like they were going to take just a couple rounds and seal the deal, but Virtus.Pro always fought back into those rounds.
Yeah, Duncan, best comeback in a major?
I think so.
Well, there you have it. So Virtus.Pro looking good here as they overcome North, propel themselves into the semi-finals. We don't know who they're going to play just yet, but it's going to be epic when they do.
Here are the final results of Virtus.Pro's win.
So the last quarterfinal was SK Gaming versus FaZe. Obviously, SK Gaming still using that stand-in. There were a lot of people out there plumping for FaZe, the new guys, you know, being able to beat the experienced Brazilians.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a map that SK has always been very, very good on. And even though Kerrigan has some experience on it, has built teams that are some of the best in the world on it in the past, I mean, this is where Fur really ticks over this game. His aggressive style that he played, Kerrigan and the rest of FaZe had no answer for that. He created so much space, allowed his teammates plenty of time to sit back and just defend the site comfortably. And then you always have to remember, Fallen on this map, despite all the role swaps they've had to do with the stand-in for this tournament, Fox, Fallen in this map is just, this is his playground. This is what he loves to do. This 8-bomb site with the AWP, he's a monster, and it's so hard to be effective against him.
Yeah, Duncan, Fallen actually had quite a quiet tournament by his high standards so far, but he really came alive on this map here.
Well, I mean, this one, he understood that he had to get back on the open. He had to get into his spot, so he did that. The thing I feel for Kerrigan over on the FaZe side is this is almost the time when somehow using a stand-in actually made it harder for you to play against the opponent, because you couldn't have known they were going to swap Fur over, they were going to use him in this manner. He's very, very effective, and Kerrigan called a lot of good strats, but that CT side just shot them down.
Yeah, so in the end, it was SK Gaming that were able to keep normal service. They beat FaZe Clan to go into the semi-finals.
That concluded the quarterfinals. Astralis, Fnatic, Virtus.Pro, and SK Gaming moved on.
So the first semi-final, Astralis versus Fnatic, we kind of saw all of the facets of Astralis in this victory. The first map obviously went to overtime, a few little jitters. They picked Nuke out of nowhere, Duncan, and we weren't too sure how they were going to perform. Turns out it's very much in their map pool.
Yeah, whereas actually Fnatic really lost on this one. What was so great about this semi-final was not only did they overcome the curse, not only did they overcome some incredibly clutch players like Olaf Meister, Crims, guys who've been to semis, guys who've won majors in their career, but more importantly, they did it on maps that actually aren't the strongest for Astralis. So they kind of showed us just the kind of depth and breadth of that map pool and their ability to adapt, to get a default, get it working, and then be able to grind rounds from that.
Yeah, and you made the point, Jason, it wasn't just that Fnatic were lost on this map, Astralis came prepared.
Yeah, I thought they looked very, very good on this map. I mean, certainly they didn't get tested in the way you'd like to see going into someone like they're going to meet in the grand finals, who might be good on this map, but the fact remains, I mean, you could see the plan, you could see the ideas they had. Really, this map for me showed there's a lot of talent on this Fnatic roster, and you could see Astralis, they weren't scared of it. They weren't shying away from any fights, and they came out on top of most of them.
So this blistering performance on Nuke puts Astralis into the uncharted territory of being in their first major final.
Here are the final results.
The second semi-final was one of the great matchups in World Counter-Strike. Always an exciting game when Virtus.Pro play SK Gaming, and this delivered as well, done.
Yeah, I mean, these are the two teams that somehow always get there, always manage to adapt to whatever's going on. And you saw in this game, I mean, Taz had a fantastic game, usually looked thought was one of the stronger players. Pasha was having flashbacks to 3 years ago when they were winning majors, etc. This was a game where SK may have been here with a stand-in. They probably weren't going to win this title, but they pushed VP to the very limit and ensured that if VP was going to make the final, they had to really be at peak form.
Yeah, I mean, this was an absolutely disgusting game for Virtus.Pro. I mean, it was so close down the stretch, but it just showed many different players stepping up. Taz being the star player. And I mean, the big thing for me was this was them, you know, getting over some of their demons. The past two majors that we've had back in 2016, SK defeats Virtus.Pro in both of them and goes on to win both of them. So this was SK kind of getting him back and just saying not a third time. I think Taz as a leader, I mean, he just showed such good strength, especially considering during most of the strategies, he took over that kind of entry role. He was very, very effective with it. And without those efforts, I don't think VP wins this. So very, very good cobblestone from them. And it seemed like a dangerous pick at the time.
Yeah, Neo really came alive as well. I mean, everything really was firing for Virtus.Pro. Do they look like major winners to you, Duncan?
I'll still give the edge to Astralis, but certainly Virtus.Pro can give them a real tough test. And they're the ones who you're going to make you play up to their level.
I think Virtus.Pro looks very much like champions. I mean, it's going to be a hard task, but we know this team. I mean, the reputation they have as the Virtus Plow, as the cliche has gone for years with these guys, is if they start turning up, if you see them start gaining momentum, it's so difficult to stop them. Very few teams in the past have been able to stop this team when they have that kind of momentum, when they get that kind of feeling in the arena on the stage. So this is going to be a good test for Astralis.
So SK Gaming did well with the stand-in out in the semis, but it's going to be Virtus.Pro that make it through to the finals.
Here are the final results.
An epic final, just where to even begin breaking this down. You know, you had the old masters taking on the young pretenders. It was a perfect storyline.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is Virtus.Pro, I mean, this map on Train, they've been so good on it for so long, so many classic matches they've had on it, and Astralis has just recently started to look like one of the best teams in the world on it, and they got tested. I mean, this was Virtus.Pro out to an early lead as they do, and this is where they get dangerous, is when they're picking up steam like that, when they're kind of catching fire, they're just running over you, and that's exactly what happened for the first 8 rounds, and Astralis, once again, just reached deep down. They usually break in these situations. This time, they prevent that from happening.
Yeah, and Duncan, Train was the perfect deciding map because Virtus.Pro, they had been the people who showed everyone else how to play this when it was reintroduced to the map pool, and yet Astralis have gone on to be the best team in the world on this map. Just incredible.
Yeah, and the real revelation in terms of Astralis, if you remember the old school Dignitas, they were CT-sided team, so it's the terrorist side that's gotten Astralis to this point. They had to rely on it. Sure, there was some scary moments, but in the end, they were the better T-side team. They were the champions of the major.
Yeah, so they even did it without their star player turning up Astralis. I mean, Device had a quiet final, but what was really amazing was not only did everybody else increase their level, Glaive, the in-game leader, he just made incredible calls, just read Virtus.Pro like a book when it mattered.
Yeah, this is what all the roster changes they've had over the past, 6 months or so coming into this event. This is what they were all for. Obviously, Caribbean, a young star, really grew into himself when he was needed. So clutch in the difficult situations, the one-on-one. Zipnix came up huge for them, and that's exactly it. You can't ever replicate what Device can do as an individual player, but when you have that kind of a team effort, the tactical calling, the individual performances in clutch moments, that's how you can kind of imitate what he provides in the server.
Yeah, Duncan, let's talk about the evolution of Astralis, the newfound maturity. In the past, Astralis would have capitulated here. They didn't do it on Overpass. They didn't do it on Train. They've now got a spine.
Yeah, the key thing here is, yeah, they could give up rounds. Yeah, they could have moments when they lost energy, when they looked like they're out, but they managed to regroup every time. And every time, they trusted the call, they trusted the system, and that's what actually allowed them to, in the end, to lift the trophy.
And Snacks in a comfortable position. He goes down with the max 7. He can't make it happen. Finally, Pasha coming in with the refrag, but he's down. The bomb has been picked up by Dupree. They get the spray. Neo takes one, and Towns is there. And Astralis, they win the first major championship. 16-14 against Virtus.Pro.
Congratulations to Astralis. They are your ELEAGUE Major champions.